Hi everybody, Michelle here with Sew It Online, and this video is all about threading the Babylock Joy. So when you first open the box and you pull out the Joy, you're going to notice you have knobs and a little lever, and you're just like, okay, what do I need to do? First thing you need to do is pull out your user manual. That's going to be your best friend when it comes to having any kind of sewing machine. The Babylock Joy is an easy machine to thread and to sew with. It's a mechanical machine, but you can see by the dials here, everything is pretty much self-explanatory, and right over here you can actually see the stitches that are available on your machine. This lever right here, you're going to see a little embossed arrow that goes backwards. When you hold that down, your machine is going to sew back, and then when you let go, it'll sew forward again. What I'd like to do is show you how to thread your machine. But before we do that, we need to thread a bobbin or load a bobbin, however you would like. So your bobbin is actually located in this compartment down here. I'm going to take this little black lever and just kind of tuck it over to the right. This little plastic guide comes off, and we're just going to put that off to the side. And in here is where this little black cartridge, or whatever you want to call it. That's actually your bobbin case. This is where your bobbin is going to sit. So this is what a bobbin looks like. Okay, the bobbin is used to catch the top thread and create a stitch on the top and the bottom of your material. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to, just for the time being, put our bobbin way up here, just so we have it. Make sure you are using the correct bobbin for your machine. I'm going to take the thread and I'm going to put it on the machine like that. And I like to use two hands when I thread my machine. I'm going to take one and kind of just hold a little taut right here. Now before I can do anything, the biggest thing you want to do is take your presser foot. There's a lifter, there's a little lever right here. You want to put it up so that your foot is off of the bed of the machine. So we're going to take your thread and we're going to do the bobbin first. And on the very top of the machine, and you'll be able to see it, and it's also a visual guide in your user manual, you're going to follow the dash lines. The dash lines are going to show you the route to thread your bobbin. The solid line is going to be to thread your machine. And it's nice and easy because there's actually even numbers to follow. But in order to do the bobbin, we're going to take the thread, we're going to go under number 1, and we bring it forward. And this little knob right here, there's a little space in between the top piece, and we're just going to tuck it right in there. All right, I'm going to take my thread, and I can take my bobbin off, and I do like to have a pair of scissors handy. I'm just going to clip the end of the thread, and you're going to notice that there's a hole in your bobbin. I want you to put the thread through, and I want you to pop it right in there. Let me see if I can see it a little bit. There it goes. See how it comes up? Just like that. All right. I'm going to take this. I'm going to pop it right down on that little spool stand right there, or that little the little spool. Guess what you want to call it? The bobbin holder. How about that? I'm going to take my bobbin. I'm going to move it over toward the right, so it's next to this little white guide. This little white guide is there so that you don't overload your bobbin. Now, I'm going to put my foot on the presser foot, and I'm just going to do a little bit, and you're going to see how it starts to wind around the bobbin. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to clip the thread real close, and then I'm going to finish winding the bobbin. Now I'm putting my foot on the presser foot so I can make it go slow or fast. Okay, now I'm not going to do the whole bobbin. When I'm all done, and it will usually automatically stop, I'm going to pop this. Before I can take it off, I need to put the bobbin back over to the left. Now I can pull up that bobbin off of the machine very easily. I'm going to clip it here, leave a tail. Now we need to load this bobbin. Now I just put a little bit of thread on there because I'm going to be using this for other machines, but when you load the bobbin, you want the bobbin to look, and the thread to look like the letter P. So see how the thread is hanging off the left side? I'm going to drop it down into the bobbin case okay? And there's like a little arrow. You're going to put it on top of that arrow and you're going to swing it over to the left. And I like to just leave it there for the time being. We're going to thread the machine. So we're going to take it out of here. Now, the first guide where it says the number 1, that goes for the bobbin and threading the machine. So I can leave it right there. So again, hold your right hand to kind of hold a little taut the thread. I'm going to bring it down here. And you're going to see I'm going to come under number 2 and up and over. And you see this little take-up lever right here? I'm going to swing all the way around. And it's going to catch in that little hook right there. Now, I'm going to come down. There's a number 4 right there. And then there's a little mark, there's a little guide right here. And if you can see it, I'm going to come around to the left and see where it is right there. Now I'm ready to just thread the needle. Now we can do this a couple different ways. What I like to do is I take my thread and I cut it on an angle. And I'm notorious for using tweezers for everything. I'm going to take my tweezers about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge and I'm going to put it through the eye of the needle. Now, one of the things, if I'm going straight onto it, I can see it a little bit better. There we go. And I have it threaded, okay? Now, when you thread the needle like that, it works really well. But some people, there is a needle threader on this machine. I'm going to show you how to use that also. One of the things that I learned recently is that, you know how we used to take the thread and wet it and then put it through the eye of the needle? Well, we're doing it wrong. We need to wet the back of the needle and put the thread through, and it'll kind of wick its way back to the back of the needle and go right through the eye. So I'm going to take this out because I want to show you how to use that needle threader. So I've given myself some slack here. I'm going to put the presser foot down. I've made sure that my needle is in its highest position. And I know it's in the highest position because this little bar right here is as high as it can go. Okay? If it's in its highest position, you know your needle is at its highest position. Now, I hope that you can see this. There's a little lever that I'm going to drop down and I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to take my left thumb, grab my thread, and I'm going to pull the thread from west to east, and that thread is going to be in front of the eye of the needle. Then when I let this lever go, let me pull this, it should thread the needle. Now it takes me a couple times to do this because I'm kind of on an angle, but let me try this one more time. There it goes. And I just take my tweezers and I take that loop, see the loop that it's created, and I just take it right back. My needle is threaded, okay? It might take a couple times to do it, but you'll get it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put my presser foot up. I'm going to turn the hand wheel toward me, and what it's going to do is the thread is going to swoop around and I'm going to pick up that bobbin thread. And I like to do this with this machine so that I have the bobbin thread and the needle thread above the machine. Now I'm going to put the case or the cover back on the bobbin, and I'm basically ready to go and sew. Now you're going to notice these items here, these 3 knobs here. This is going to be your stitch selector. So the selector is here depending on what stitch. So if you wanted this kind of this crisscross, okay, you're going to go over to D, but you're also going to make sure you are in the pink zone for your stitch selector, also on the stitch length. But let's just do a basic stitch. We're going to do B. We're right there. I have a stitch length of 2. Now width doesn't really matter if you're doing a straight stitch, but let's say we're going to do a zigzag stitch. I'm going to put this on C. So now I can adjust my stitch length and my stitch width. The stitch width is going to go back and forth. That's going to be the width of your zigzag. If you're doing a straight stitch, the width doesn't really matter, but the length does. So let's try. We'll put the fabric underneath here, put the foot down. You want to make sure your presser foot is down because that means that your thread is in the tension dials and you're going to get a good stitch. I do always like to turn the hand wheel once or twice just to make sure everything is running smoothly. And then I can put my foot on the presser foot and sew away. Now say I want to change stitch in the middle. I can go all the way to A. I can put this on 3. And again, we don't even have to mess with the stitch width. And then I've changed over to a straight stitch. Now remember that reverse button? It goes backwards and then it goes forwards when I let go. To take it out, I like to put the presser foot up. I make sure that the needle is in its highest position by just turning the hand wheel toward me, okay, till this is at its highest position. Then I can just simply swoop it out and cut my threads. So you can see I went from a zigzag to a straight stitch in no time at all. So enjoy your Babylock. The joy, the zest, the zeal, all these pretty much thread exactly the same way. So enjoy it and just keep on sewing.